Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my video about financial films. So I've had a business for about 2.5 years, and all of it, at the beginning I thought, I was like, okay, so this is my first year, so this is going to be the learning year. And I'm going to, no, every year is the learning year. Every time I launch a new campaign on Indiegogo, there's things that I learned from previous campaigns that worked, and then there's mistakes. Okay, don't do that one again. Just had one on the latest one. It's like, whatever, that's the whole thing. But what I'm saying is you're always learning. And you know, one of the most complicated things I had to learn was how to budget and when to spend and how to spend, because you can get really hemmed up at the end of the year if you have a bunch of money just sitting in your business account. Like, it needs to be somewhere. It needs to be in a tax advantaged, retirement account. It needs to be spent on a legitimate business expense, even if it's for something that's going to happen way long. I mean, some of these projects, by the time a book comes out, I've been working on it for 18 months, so I've had to do taxes twice. But you have the expenses, you have all the receipts, and I got very, very, very lucky my first year in that I spent so much for books that were coming out the next year, so that at the end of the year, I had spent a bunch. So my first year was like a spending year. And then second one was an earning year, putting out all the books that I paid for the previous year. That earning year, that one will really get you. So you constantly your money's always got to be doing something. It can't just sit there in Scrooge McDuck's money bin, because, geez, if there was an actual money bin like that, it would be basically taxed empty within about 5 years. Or at least, a pittance of what, they're just going to grab it. So basically, if you don't use your money, the IRS goes up and taps it on the shoulder and it's like, hey, baby, you like slow jams? And just gone. So in addition to making mistakes and learning from them, talking to more successful business people, I said business people, not businessmen, #woke. Reading, I'm also just, in my free time, I'll just watch financial movies, watch financial TV shows and YouTube. So I started watching recently some financial films. And wow, there are some really good financial films. I mentioned this before, I think on my other channel, that one time, like my first cybersecurity job, we had, the company, it was kind of like a dining out. It was poker night, or it was Las Vegas night, something like that. So they rent out, a conference room, and they put up all these things. So I went to go play poker. Except for I was playing poker the way that only people in episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation play poker, where it's like call, raise, fold, and that's like it. That's like the entire game. So people thought I was being funny at first. They're like, ha ha ha, wait, oh, you really don't know how to play poker? I thought I did. How many TV shows, movies do people play poker? But they always do that really, really simplified version of poker, where all you do is call, raise, and fold. Oh, he's bluffing. So, my point is, can you learn poker from watching movies? No. Can you learn finances and investing from watching movies? No. But it can help crystallize. Some of these movies I've seen before, and suddenly the financial plans for the first time ever make sense. Before, I could only really tell it's like, he's doing a financial thing and it's doing good, or he's doing good but it's illegal. Like, I couldn't really understand it. Like, I saw Wolf of Wall Street like 7 years ago. I knew he was doing something bad, but I didn't understand. Even when they would explain it, like, look at the camera and try to explain what it is. So I'm going to be reviewing briefly multiple financial movies, and these are all really good. Like, you could literally have a financial film festival. So the films, in no particular order, are The Big Short, Wall Street, Wall Street's sequel, Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, Margin Call, and what is the one Wolf of Wall Street. So should be 5 films right there. So I'll go through, I guess, the order that I watched them recently. So I've seen Wall Street. I had a Oliver Stone phase in the 90s, as did most people. Then I kind of forgot about it, that he exists, and then I've been watching a bunch of his movies lately. And I remember, back in the day, I liked Platoon because it was military. So I watched Wall Street just because it was like another Oliver Stone movie, but I kind of barely understood it. And I watched it again, and it was good. It was quite good. That one's written by Oliver Stone. The sequel is not. It's just he's the director, but it still has his imprimatur. But the thing about the first one is, well, first of all, it's kind of funny because I remember when the first time I saw it, I was like, Michael Douglas is so old. I'm like 7 years older than he is in that movie right now. But it's the classic, the young guy just wants to make a living, and then he gets seduced by the dark side of the financial force. But there's a real good, look at, it's not just about like rich guy money, then he laughs. Like, it's an entire system. It's networks. It's networks of networks. It's luck. At one point, this might even be in the sequel, Gordon Gekko is just saying, hey, half these business deals we do, they're just out of spite. They're just to screw over the guy who screwed us over 5 years ago. So it's an interesting kind of primer in business and the stock market and Wall Street. It's good. It's solid. Then there's Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, which is a sequel that came out like 23 years later. It's crazy. So it's actually set in a couple years in the past. I think it came out in 2010, but it was set in 2008 with the subprime crash. And it's about Gordon Gekko getting out. Now, I had completely forgotten that Bud Fox, Charlie Sheen's character, was in the sequel. I think the sequel is better. Now, it is a little cheesy in that it came out. Do you remember when all of a sudden everything started looking like the Speed Racer movie? There was like a lot of like oversaturated colors and like not exactly like 3D, but like all these digital effects and wipes and transitions. Like, it got a little silly, but they were doing that to kind of visually spice up, kind of boring things. This one's even better. It's Gordon Gekko trying to reunite with his daughter after he gets out of prison, actually several years after, and then it's about him making his fortune back. But you don't really know that till the end. It's actually a true redemption arc for Gordon Gekko, while also being him, true to his character. He's going to create wealth for himself mainly, but others, and it's kind of like, it almost is like it's inevitable. While everyone else is crashing and they can't see, the inevitable, he does. That's all he sees, and he's very good at human nature. He doesn't mind being hated, even by loved ones, and that's kind of one of the points. At some point, to be a really, really good businessman, you have to not be bothered that everyone hates you. Your own family hates you, your friends. At the end, it's actually a nice bit where he had more than just himself. He had to make a lot of money and actually piss some people off to help his family and some others. And so it's really, really, really good. I actually love that movie. I might just rewatch that one just for pure enjoyment. The next one I saw was probably The Big Short. I remember this being... first of all, the trailer showed in front of like everything for like 6 months. It got a bunch of awards, but it's such a boring title. And like the poster was just like Steve Carell, like kind of vaguely smiling. Like, what is this? Brad Pitt's in it. This looks boring as hell. It is freaking excellent. This one is probably the best one for actually learning. You're actually going to learn. I know what tranches are now. So it talked about the subprime collapse and explains it very well in that, for a while, banking wasn't like mega profitable. They would get, their percentage, but it was a lot of just like, oh, I'm going to invest in municipal bonds. Ooh, 20 years, 2%, but it's dependable. Like it wasn't that amazing. You would make okay money if you had a lot of volume. So they started looking for other ways to make money, and they found out that you could sell mortgages, and then you could package them up, and you could, rate them versus credit, and some would be more valuable than others. And then people basically started to figure out that you could actually kind of turn it into betting by buying insurance for them. And what happens is, after they ran out of good mortgages, they just started buying shit ones, and then mixing that in with the good ones. And that, of course, can only go for so far until people start, they showed it with a basically Chenga. It's very good. So that one was really good. I learned a lot and it was very, very entertaining. At some points, they just have celebrities just talk to the camera to explain to you, basically, what a tranche is, what, the history of lending and why you would purposely sell insurance for ridiculous odds because you think it's never going to happen. It's just another way to make money. The one I saw after that was Margin Call. Again, incredibly boring title, but it had Paul Bettany, it has Kevin Spacey, it has a really good cast. The Australian guy with the really cartoonishly thick hair, Simon something, and so that one is also about the subprime crash. This one is not based on directly real people like The Big Short is. It's basically about a company realizing in kind of a cartoonish way, hey, there's about to be a crash tomorrow. Yeah, there were some things they did like these time hacks that were pretty silly, but the acting is phenomenal. You will not believe how good the writing and acting is. And basically it comes to this moral quandary where they say, you know what, we can weather this. All we have to do is screw over every single business contact we've developed. And it's going to cost us our reputation, but we're going to survive. And all of these losers are going to fail. They are all going to collapse, but we can survive if we screw everyone over. Now you might say, oh, it sounds like you got to just be a straight up villain. Well, they do some very, very interesting things with, the very, very human characters. That character you think is going to be Mr. Super Righteous? Nope. That guy you think is the super asshole, at the end he's crying over a dead dog. And it all makes sense. None of it, except for they kind of skip to it's a little silly, oh, we just discovered this. And then later on they're like, oh wait, actually there's been multiple reports on this over years, but they got ignored. But this report doesn't get ignored because it's a really good report. I don't know how to explain it, but that one I absolutely love. That one, it's not fun, but the performances are freaking amazing. And then I just watched The Wolf of Wall Street, which I've seen before. I watched it on a phone when it first came out on Netflix 6 years ago. And I remember when Scorsese was putting out The Irishman, and he's like, this is on Netflix, don't watch it on the phone. And everyone's like, oh, listen to Mr. Fancy. Yeah, you can watch crap on a phone, but don't watch a good movie on a phone. It was effectively like seeing the movie for the first time, seeing it on a TV. And I mentioned this before, it's kind of shocking. Both Oliver Stone and Martin Scorsese, when they made their, the Wall Street sequel and this one, they're 70 or into their 70s. These movies are vibrant. They are energetic. You don't feel like it's a very, very old man making this. So the weird one about this is, it explains to me what penny stocks were. I didn't really understand what penny stocks. And then it also shows, penny stocks are these trash stocks that people just kind of trade in to make themselves feel fancy, but it's just scratch off tickets essentially, with probably worse odds. But this guy Jordan Belfort, he gets into being a stockbroker right before the crash in 1987. He ends up in this shit place selling penny stocks, but then he's shocked to find that the commission is insane. The commission, instead of 1% working on Wall Street, is 50% selling these crap penny stocks. So he gets really good at that, and then he starts a brokerage firm. I think I'm using that term correctly. And what he does, it goes for a while, but everyone's like, you're just this trash, you just do penny stocks. He's like, well, why don't we sell real stocks, get the good fat cat clients, and then sell them the shit, and that we get to 50%, margins. Now he does a bunch of other stuff, manipulating the stock market. I probably should never be a stockbroker, because I gotta say, I don't really see what's wrong with insider trading. Like, coming from the military, you always want to know everything. So you're always talking to, the guy who works in the company office, that's, with the commanders and everything. So you're like, hey, when are we deploying? When are we redeploying? Oh, I heard we're going on an air assault. Oh, I heard this. I heard we're getting a new first sergeant. Like, you always want to get all the information you can at any time. Like, it's important. And so it's weird to me. It's like, oh, I know this stuff that'll make me a bunch of money, but I can't do anything with that information. It's like, well, shit. It's probably best that I never became a stockbroker or anything like that. But these are all great movies. Like, not just like, oh God, I got to learn about the War of 1812. So you watch some like super boring movie. Like, no, this is like good, like really, really good. Wow, this is the slowest Chick-fil-A line. I gotta wave off. It's closing in 24 minutes. This thing hasn't moved the whole time or like half the time I've been recording. Chick-fil-A. It's the end of the day. You ran out of chicken, didn't you? You don't want to tell anyone. So anyway, I'm not going to Chick-fil-A. I'm going somewhere. This is the second time I've been denied Chick-fil-A. This is my right as a Texan. Gosh darn it. Yeah, I don't want it that much to spend 30 minutes in this line. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, it's not like, you remember when you'd be in school and the teacher, I don't know, like she just got served with divorce papers, so she's like, she wheels in the AV cart. She's like, today we're going to learn about the Revolutionary War, watching some crap musical from the 70s. No, this is like, it's not homework. It's legitimately entertaining, as well as being informative, but like, it works just on, do you like good movies? Do you just want to, one weekend just watch a whole bunch of movies with, a similar theme, which is finance, investing, stock market, Wall Street? Well, watch these 5 films. I think you're going to love all of them. Yeah, I will vouch for all of these movies. Like, they're all good. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I have no idea what I'm going to review next. Bye.